I got to talk to Mark Zuckerberg and tell him stop changing things up. All these changing of settings is driving me just a little bit crazy. Sorry about that. Let's take a second and get into a spiritual place. I have wakened in thy shelter, oh my God, and it becometh him that seeketh that shelter to abide within the sanctuary of thy protection and the stronghold of thy defense. Illumine my inner being, oh my Lord, with the splendors of the day spring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor. Illumine my inner being, oh my Lord, with the splendors of the day spring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor. Ooh. That wasn't bad, but I probably should have tuned before, before we did the song. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hello, everyone in the Zoom. Now we did have you in gallery mode. Jeremiah, could you switch us back to gallery just for a moment? Just for a moment. I want to see the names. Let's see. So we've got Pauline. Good morning, Pauline. How you doing? Good morning. And I've got a big what's it called? A big floater in the way right now. I can't see the rest of the name. Good morning, Kim. How are you, Kim? And is that Vicky? I think that's
Vicky's
Vicky.
out
Good
there.
morning, Vicky. How are you?
Terry,
And Andy is with us. Good morning, Terry. Good
Andy,
morning,
yes.
Andy. How you doing? And Mike is here with us in the room. Did I miss anyone? Did I miss anyone in the Zoom? I don't think.
That looks like everybody.
Okay, okay. And
Utah.
Mike is with. Oh, Yuta is with us. Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Yuta. How
Utah.
you doing, Yuta? And
Good
Mike.
morning. Very well. Thank you.
Wonderful to see you. And Mike is here in the room. How you doing, Mike? Things are good. Great, great, great. And Jeremiah is there in the Zoom too. Normally Jeremiah is on site, but right now he's out there somewhere in the ethos. But he's still with us. He's here in Zoom. How you doing, Jeremiah? He's probably giving us a silent thumbs up. How you doing,
Right.
Daryl?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
All
I'm
right.
okay. You know why? Because I have awakened in the shelter of God. Yeah, I'll have to
Amen.
remember that when I'm not doing okay. I have to remember that. I would bet you already have a prayer chosen. I could be wrong.
I do have a prayer.
Okay.
Today's prayer
Okay.
is about healing because we've got a lot of things on the planet today that need healing.
Oh
So
boy, tell me about it.
so this is for healing for the planet.
Mm.
O God, my God, I beg of thee by the ocean of thy healing, and by the splendors of the day spring of thy grace, day star of thy grace, and by thy name through which thou didst subdue thy servants, and by the pervasive power of thy most exalted word, and the potency of thy most august pen, and by thy mercy that hath preceded the creation of all who are in heaven and on earth, to purge me with the waters of thy bounty from every affliction and disorder, and from all weakness and feebleness. Thou seest, O my Lord, thy suppliant, waiting at the door of thy bounty, and him whom thou hast set his hopes on thee, clinging to the cord of thy generosity. Deny him not, I beseech thee, the things he seeketh from the ocean of thy grace and the day star of thy loving kindness. Powerful art thou to do what pleaseth thee. There is none other God save thee, the ever forgiving, the most generous.
Thank you so much, Daryl.
Thank you.
Now, for those of you who have been joining us in the past, or maybe even if you're new, if you've been joining us in the past, then you probably know that what we're reading now is about the world's great educators. Okay, Abdul Baha tells us, well, we haven't even said the book. The book is Some Answered Questions. Some answered questions, not just questions, but questions with answers. And those answers come from Abdul Baha. And we are now reading about we've read about why humanity needs educators, and we're not talking about just school teachers. We're talking about educators for mankind. And
Divine
yes,
educators.
divine, thank you, divine educators that are appointed by God. And we've read about Abraham, and we've read about Moses, and we've read about Jesus. Well, today we are going to embark on a manifestation of God that everyone is familiar with the name, but you might be, I don't know, maybe a little misled uh, a lot about this manifestation of God, depending on where you're getting your information from, or if you've gotten no information whatsoever, obviously you wouldn't know much about it. I'm talking about Muhammad. And so today we're going to see what Abdul Baha says about Muhammad. And I got to tell you, man, it's pretty interesting. I mean, it's
It
not like
is.
you don't know, but you've already read it too. But it's quite interesting. He really puts a different perspective on what people may think about Muhammad. Particularly, I would dare say, no, I'm expounding on things that I really don't have the authority or even enough insight to. I'll just say that what I read makes perfect sense from Abdul Baha, and that it'll make you kind of, really feel like, yeah, that does make sense. But anyway, I'm going on a little too long. I've already started. I'm shutting up. Daryl, please.
Now, as to Mohammed, the people of Europe and America have heard certain tales about the prophet, to which they have given credence, even though the providers of these accounts, many of whom belong to the ranks of the Christian clergy, were either ignorant or ill intentioned. Likewise, a number of ignorant Muslims relayed unfounded tales concerning Muhammad, which in their minds redounded to his glory. Thus, some benighted Muslims made his polygamy the object of their highest praise and held it to be a sign of his wondrous powers, since these ignorant souls considered the multiplicity of wives to be a miraculous thing. The accounts of European historians rely, for the most part, upon the sayings of such ignorant people.
Okay, Daryl, I'm going to stop you right there already. So Abdul Baha seems to be saying that, I don't know, whatever you may think
Excuse
of
me.
polygamy, there are some followers of Muhammad, who have made, and correct me if you think I'm wrong about this, made a big deal about this in a positive way, looking at this, the practice of polygamy, as a miracle.
Yes.
Whereas Abdul Baha is saying, not really. And he's saying that if you're getting your information from European sources, from European historians, they got their information, much of it, from really ignorant people.
Right.
Oh boy. Okay.
For example, a foolish individual once told a Christian priest that the proof of true greatness lies in surpassing bravery and bloodshed, and that in a single day, one of the followers of Muhammad had beheaded 100 men on the battlefield. This led the priest to surmise that the proof of Muhammad's religion consisted in killing, which is nothing but vain imagination. On the contrary, Muhammad's military expeditions were always defensive in nature. On the contrary, Muhammad's military expeditions were always defensive in nature.
Hmm.
The clear proof is this. For 13 years, both he and his companions endured in Mecca the most intense persecutions and were the constant target of the darts of hatred. Some of his companions were killed and their possessions pillaged. Others forsook their native country and fled to foreign lands. Muhammad himself was subjected to the severest persecutions and was obliged, when his enemies resolved to kill him, to flee Mecca in the middle of the night and emigrate to Medina. Yet, even then, his enemies did not relent, but pursued the Muslims all the way to Medina and to Abyssinia.
I think that's called Medina. I've always heard it called Medina.
Medina.
Medina, Medina. Tomato, tomato. I would like to say, I would like to say something about this emphasis on Muhammad killing, which of course, let's face it, it's a terrible thing. But I mean, here's a different perspective. I mean, first of all, Abdul Baha seems to be saying, given the circumstances, given the circumstances, what he did was necessary.
It was a defensive act.
Exactly, it was defensive. And I was thinking, believe it or not, while you were reading that, and even while I read this before, I was actually thinking about Jesus. And I recently heard a priest online, but I like what he said. I like what he said. I mean, you can hear so many things online, but I really like what he said. And he talked about, believe it or not, how Jesus was not nice. Jesus was not nice. He said, because a lot of times nice people let bad things go because they don't want to
Rock the boat.
yeah, they don't want to rock the boat. He said Jesus was not nice, but Jesus was good. And being good meant there were times he had to, as you said, rock the boat. He had to point out wrongdoing. Now bring this back up to Muhammad again. Here is a manifestation of God who is appointed to bring people forward through this revelation of God. Do you allow it to be snuffed out? I think the answer is no. And like you said, this was not offensive, this was defensive. And that does put a different spin on it, or at least it puts a totally different perspective on it. The word spin seems like, okay, you're just trying to make this out to be something it's not, but it does give us a different perspective.
Sure. These Arab tribes were most barbarous and rapacious, and in comparison with them, the wild and fierce natives of America were the Platos of the age, for they did not bury their children alive as these Arabs did their daughters, claiming this to be an act of honor and taking pride therein. I'm going to read that again
Okay.
because it's kind of heinous. But and I just want it to be understood.
Hmm.
These Arab tribes were most barbarous and rapacious, and in comparison with them, the wild and fierce natives of America were the Platos of the age, for they did not bury their children alive as these Arab did their daughters, claiming this to be an act of honor and taking pride therein.
Mm.
Thus, many of the men would threaten their wives, saying, "If a daughter is born to you, I will kill you." Even to the present day, the Arabs dread having daughters.
Mm.
Moreover, you have to consider when this was written, it's early 1900s.
Hmm.
Moreover, one man could take 1,000 wives, and most husbands had more than 10 wives in their households. When these tribes waged war against each other, the victors would take captive the women and children of the vanquished, regard them as slaves, and engage in buying and selling them. If a man died and left behind 10 wives, the sons of these women would rush at each other's mothers, and as soon as one of them had thrown his mantle over the head of one of his stepmothers and claimed her as his lawful property, that unfortunate woman would become the captive and slave of her stepson, and the latter could do with her as he pleased. He could
Mm.
kill her, or shut her up in a pit, or beat, curse, and torment her day after day until at last she perished. In all, in all this, he was, in accordance with the laws and customs of the Arabs, free to do as he pleased. The rancor and jealousy, the hatred and enmity that must have existed between the wives of a man and their respective children are perfectly clear and require no elaboration.
Mm.
Consider then what the life and condition of those wronged women must have been.
Really.
Moreover, these Arab tribes subsisted upon mutual pillage and robbery, so that they were perpetually engaged in strife and warfare, killing one another, plundering each other's property, seizing the women and children, and selling them to strangers.
Mm.
How often would the sons and daughters of a prince spend the day in luxury and ease and find themselves at nightfall reduced to utter abasement, wretchedness, and bondage? Yesterday they were princes, today they are captives. Yesterday they were honored ladies, today they are slaves.
Mm.
It was among such tribes that Mohammed was sent forth. It was among these tribes, such tribes, that Muhammad was sent forth. For 13 years, he suffered at their hands every conceivable tribulation, till at last he fled the city and emigrated to Medina for you. And yet, excuse
Well,
me,
thank you.
and yet far from desisting, these people joined forces, raised an army, and attacked with the aim of exterminating every man, woman, and child among his followers. It was under such circumstances and against such people that Muhammad was forced to take up arms. This is the plain truth. We are not prompted by fanatical attachment, nor do we blindly seek to defend, but we examine and relate matters with
You
fairness.
know, I got to stop you there, man, because when just reading that, we examine and relate matters with fairness. How many times while we were reading, from the various writings of Baha'u'llah that we've covered thus far, has that statement been made? Consider this in so many words, consider this with fairness. I read that and I think, okay, we're all going to have our own preferences, our own preconceived notions. I would bet that everyone in Zoom and yourself, myself, Mike, and anyone who finds any value in what we do probably is a peace loving person,
Most likely.
and yet we look at this, and here is Abdul Baha saying, Muhammad, under those circumstances, given the mission he was given, was simply reacting to the circumstances in the way that would allow him, and these are my words, allow him to do what he was supposed to do in that mission. He says, and he points out, we are not prompted by fanatical attachment, nor do we blindly seek to defend, but we examine and relate matters with fairness. And I
Right.
don't know, I love that he points that out. Again, I keep saying this for the last few Sundays. I think of that picture over there of Abdul Baha. One day I'm going to bring that picture and show people. I mean, I bet because a lot of people in Facebook don't know. Well, most of the people in the Zoom have probably been here. But yeah, telling us, consider this with fairness. Put aside your prejudices, put aside your preconceived notions, your assumptions, whatever you heard, and let's look at the evidence as it exists.
Well, the other side of that is, had he not done what he did, he would not have survived.
Exactly. Exactly.
He would not have survived. You should likewise consider, in fairness, the following. If Christ himself had been placed in similar circumstances and among such lawless and barbarous tribes, for 13 years he and his disciples had patiently endured every manner of cruelty at their hands, if they were forced through this oppression to forsake their homeland and take to the wilderness, and if these lawless tribes still persisted in pursuing them with the aim of slaughtering the men, pillaging their property, and seizing their women and children, how would Christ have dealt with them? If this oppression had been directed towards him alone, he would have forgiven them. And such an act of forgiveness would have
Mhm.
been most acceptable and praiseworthy. But had he seen that cruel and bloodthirsty murderers were intent upon killing, pillaging, and tormenting a number of defenseless souls and taking captive the women and children, it is certain that he would have defended the oppressed and stayed the hand of the oppressors.
Ooh. Uh, I'm just going to put this out there. I'm looking at that. And first of all, he's saying, even if Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, he who lives by the sword will die by the sword.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, he who told, I don't know which one of the disciples was it that took out the sword and cut off a soldier's ear, and he healed the soldier, and he told, basically saying the same thing, you don't do this. And yet, here, we're being told by Abdul Baha, and I totally agree, sort of different circumstances. Very different
yeah. Had he
circumstances.
been subjected to the same things, then
Exactly. He says, okay, if this oppression had been directed towards him alone,
definitely he would have
he would have
forgiven them.
forgiven them.
That's right.
And such an act of forgiveness would have been most acceptable and praiseworthy. But had he seen that cruel and bloodthirsty murderers were intent upon killing, pillaging, and tormenting a number of defenseless souls and taking captive the women and children, it is certain that he would have defended the oppressed and stayed the hand of the oppressors. I guess in certain ways, he's saying, the manifestation of God responds appropriately to the circumstances in which they are placed.
By the way, the disciple that you were referring to just a moment ago, Tony, was the disciple Peter.
I was thinking that. I'm glad you said that. I was thinking that, but I wasn't positive, so I didn't want to say it. So thank you very much, Andy. It was Peter. Okay, I appreciate that. I see you put your book down.
Song
I guess I got to put my book down then.
time.
Okay. Let me get a little drink here. Brought to you by the makers of water. Just a little. Where there is is love, nothing is too much trouble. Wish Biggie was here to sing this. Nothing is too much trouble where there is love. Where there is love, nothing is too much trouble. There is always time. I know your days get busy, your nights can be so long, can make your head get dizzy when things keep going wrong. But there's a heavenly power to always pull you through. That's the power of love sent down for me and you. 'Cause where there is love, nothing is too much trouble. And nothing is too much trouble where there is love. Where there is love, nothing is too much trouble. There is always time. Sometimes your problems pile up so high, makes you just wanna leave. Clouding up your crystal blue sky and making it hard to believe. That's when it's time to remember that love is waiting for you. Hold on until the darkness is gone and love comes shining through. 'Cause where there is love, nothing is too much trouble. And nothing is too much trouble where there is love. Where there is love, nothing is too much trouble. There is always time. Mr. King. So remember, make time for love. Take time for love. Make time for love. 'Cause when there is love, nothing is too much trouble. And nothing is too much trouble where there is love. Where there is love, nothing is too much trouble. There is always time. Yes, there is always time. Yes, there is always time. Daryl King, ladies and gentlemen.
Tony Ballard, ladies and gentlemen.
Uh, um, every time when I'm singing this song, for anyone who's wondering, wait a minute, jazz in a spiritual program? Yes, absolutely. And these words, where there is love, nothing is too much trouble, are attributed to the one and only Abdul Baha.
Yes.
Where there is love, nothing is too much trouble, and there's always time.
Okay. Would you like to take over reading, sir?
I would like to. You know what I'd really like to do?
What's that?
Try to remember where you left off.
Moreover,
Ah, there it is. Okay. Moreover,
oh
these,
no, it's
it was
the next
among,
page. What objection then?
wait a minute. I have it was among such
Page
tribes.
31 in at the bottom of
Oh,
page.
way down there. Okay,
Yes,
okay, okay. Yes, that's right. We talked about Christ forgiving
that's right.
if Christ had been in the same situation. So, what objection then can be directed against Muhammad? There's that question. I think is going to get answered. What
Yeah.
objection then can be directed against Muhammad? Is it this that he did not, with his followers and their women and children, place himself at the mercy of these lawless tribes? Moreover, to free these tribes from their bloodthirstiness was the greatest gift. To free these tribes from their bloodthirstiness was the greatest gift. And to curb and restrain them was pure bounty. Wow. It is like a man who holds in his hand a cup of poison and who is about to drink it. A loving friend would certainly shatter the cup and restrain the drinker. If Christ had been placed in similar situations, he would have undoubtedly delivered through an all conquering power those men and women and children from the claws of such ravenous wolves. Muhammad never fought against the Christians. On the contrary, he treated them with consideration and accorded them complete freedom. I'm going to read that again. Muhammad never fought against the Christians. On the contrary, he treated them with consideration and accorded them complete freedom. In Najran, there lived a community of Christians, and they were under his care and protection. Muhammad said, should anyone infringe upon their rights, I myself will be his enemy and will charge him before God. In the edicts he promulgated, it is clearly stated that the lives, property, and honor of Jews and Christians are under the protection of God, that a Muslim husband may not prevent his Christian wife from going to church, nor oblige her to wear a veil. I've known people that
Hmm.
had issues with, had a personal relationship, and that was a point of contention, you know, or oblige her to wear a veil. That if she died, he must entrust her remains to the care of a priest, and that if the Christians desire to build a church, the Muslims must support them. Furthermore, in time of war between Islam and her enemies, the Christians were to be exempt from fighting unless they desired of their accord to join and assist the Muslims in battle, in view of the protection they enjoyed. In compensation for this exemption, they were to pay each year a small amount. In short, there are 7 lengthy edicts on these subjects, copies of some of which are to this day extant in Jerusalem. This is the very truth, and not merely my own assertion. The edict of the second caliph, is still in the custody of the Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem, and the matter is beyond doubt. Nevertheless, nevertheless, after a time, rancor and envy arose between Muslims and Christians as transgressions were committed by both sides. Beyond this truth, whatever Muslims, Christians, or others may say is pure fabrication and proceeds from fanaticism, ignorance, or intense hostility. I'm going to read that again. Beyond this truth, whatever Muslims, Christians, or others may say is pure fabrication and proceeds from fanaticism, ignorance, or intense hostility. For example, the Muslims claim that the moon was cleft asunder by Muhammad and fell upon the mountain of Mecca. They imagine the moon to be a small body which Muhammad divided in twain, casting one part on one mountain and the other part on another. These tales are prompted by sheer fanaticism. Likewise, the accounts that the Christian clergy provide and the charges that they level are always exaggerated and often baseless. Mhm.
Yeah.
You think we should stop there?
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
place to
I'm
start.
looking at the clock and I'm like, I look at that next paragraph and okay, we'll stop there. We will stop there. Okay. We will stop there. I'm trying to convince myself we will stop there. We will stop there. I'm going to fold that page. We will stop there because that, and truth is, that's a good place to stop. We're going to continue in this study of Muhammad. Not next week, come to think of it. Not next week, because next week is Unit Convention. And Unit
Right.
Convention is when Baha'is around the world, is it around the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, around the
Well,
world.
at least in this country.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Is it just in this country or is it around the world? But this is the time that at least American Baha'is, and I'm sure someone can check it out to see if it is a global event, but where American Baha'is stop and take a day to have a convention in which we vote to elect our community members that will serve on the local spiritual assembly.
Tony, it
Yeah,
is just an American thing
I would.
because the Universal House of Justice, to be international, the Universal House of Justice would have had to have specified that day, and they didn't.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
I love this. I mean, that's why I feel like sometimes studying from a point of admitted and pronounced ignorance is a good thing. Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you. And at this time, anyone who would like to share a prayer or reading or a song of your choice, this is that time. And Andy, as always, we like to start out with our Andy Murphy moment. Andy, do you have something to share with us?
Wait. Just could I make a point, Tony, before anybody else gets started?
I don't know. We'll take a vote. Yes, I vote yes. Pauline, absolutely.
The purpose of unit convention, as I understand it, is to elect our delegate who will then
All
go to
right.
to elect the National Spiritual Assembly,
Right.
not the local.
100% correct. And
You're
so
right.
I'm so glad you corrected me on that because now that you mentioned, I'm saying that's right. I'm just up here giving out bad information for the world to hear. Anyone, anyone, anyone who happened to go elsewhere after I said that is completely misled. You're right. We actually do that. We elect our local LSA at Rizwan at the time of
That's right.
Rizwan. Correct. Wow. Thank you
And
so
and
much.
and I
Thank you.
let you get away with
Yeah, you just
with
let me.
just
You didn't
it's
want to embarrass me on camera, huh?
I
Didn't want to
didn't.
embarrass me on camera.
That's
I
true.
don't embarrass that easily. So, but, yes, I do. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
But
Pauline.
thank you, Pauline. I appreciate that. Yes, this is the time we elect our delegate. You're correct. Okay.
Right.
That being said, thank you for stopping us too, because oh boy, I really appreciate that. I cannot tell you how much. But Andy, I see you've got your instrument in hand and ready to share something with us.
Yes.
Fantastic. Please do.
Oh God, my heart's desire. 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 Is there any remover of difficulties? Save God. Say, praise be God. He is God. All are his servants, and all abide by his bidding. Say, God sufficeth all things above all things, and nothing in the heavens or the earth but God sufficeth. Verily, he is in himself himself, the knower, sustainer, the omnipotent.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful as always. Is there anyone else who would like to share at this time?
Sure.
Please do, Terry.
Many a chilled heart, O my God, hath been set ablaze with the fire of thy cause, and many a slumber hath been wakened by the sweetness of thy voice. How many are the strangers that have sought shelter beneath the shadow of the tree of thy oneness, and how numerous the thirsty ones who have panted after the fountain of thy living waters in thy days. Blessed is he that hath set himself towards thee, and hastened to attain the dayspring of the lights of thy face. Blessed is he that who with all his affections have turned to the dawning place of thy revelation, and the fountainhead of thine inspiration. Blessed is he that hath expanded in thy path what thou didst bestow upon him through thy bounty and favor. Blessed is he who, in his sore longing after thee, hath cast away all else except thyself. Blessed is he who hath enjoyed intimate communion with thee, and rid himself of all attachment to anyone save thee. I beseech thee, O my Lord, by him who is thy name, who through the power of thy sovereignty and might hath risen above the horizon of his prison to ordain for everyone what becometh thee and the same of thine exaltation. Thy might and truth is equal to all things. Prayer from Baha'u'llah.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
Would. Hello, I would.
Please.
O Lord, unto thee I repair for refuge, and toward all thy signs I set my heart. O Lord, whether traveling or at home, and in my occupation or in my work, I place my whole trust in thee. Grant me then thy sufficing help, so as to make me independent of all things. O thou who art unsurpassed in thy mercy, bestow upon me my portion, O Lord, as thou pleasest, and cause me to be satisfied with whatsoever thou hast ordained for me. Thine is the abundant, absolute authority to command. The Bab.
Thank you, Kim. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Well, then, at this time, we always like to point out that uh, number one, this is a joint community effort. There are people that are not here that are part of helping to make this possible. And of course, there are people that are here, like Daryl. I mean, people we're not from the same Baha'i community, and the people in the Zoom from different communities. And I feel like even the people who choose to attend help make this happen. They give us, they motivate us. Yes. And of course, there's Mike, and there are others. But if you are someone who would like to have access to Baha'i content, uh, um, possibly because you've already declared and are a member of the Baha'i faith, or maybe you are someone who's interested in the faith or interested in learning more. There are some absolutely 100% credible, authoritative websites that you can go to. And Daryl will now tell us what those websites are.
They are www.baha'i.org, www.baha'i.us, www.bahaiteachings.org, and locally, www.clearwaterbaha'is.org.
I'm late, but I'm putting it up there. I see my cousin John is here with us. Guess who's here watching? Camby's is on Facebook. Hello, Camby's. How you doing? Great to see you. Hello, Ralph. Great to see you. Glad you can join us. I don't see the other names. There are some other names there, but I can't make them out. But we're so glad you all joined us this morning. So glad. And uh, I would like to point out that one of the people in our Zoom, every first Friday here at this place, the Clearwater Center, there is an evening of socializing and study. It's called First Friday Fireside, I believe. And sometimes it's study, sometimes we have speakers that that may be speaking on various subjects. And this coming Friday, correct me if I'm wrong, but someone in our Zoom is actually going to be the featured speaker at First
Okay.
Friday,
Who's
and
that?
that would be Kim. Kim, am I correct about that? Am I giving out bad information again? She must have stepped away from her computer. But yeah, I believe
You
it's
are
Yes,
correct.
let
Kimberly,
me, I will, can you hear me?
yes.
yes.
Yes, I am, I'm doing a sound bath with the crystal bowls
Okay, sound bath. Okay.
and talking just a little bit about sound and frequency
Oh, okay.
we all have in common.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Looking forward to that this coming Friday, and that is what October. What is that? That is October what? Second, third,
October 3rd, I believe.
October 3rd. And what time is that? That's at 7, correct? Does it start at 6? I mean, I know they always have dinner, so um,
I
I,
think, yeah, it would be after, I don't even know.
I think the doors open at 6 o'clock. I'm almost sure of that, and I think the program for the evening starts about 7.
Yeah.
Um, Again, now I'm scared I'm giving out bad information. I mean,
I think you're correct, Tony. I think you're right.
all right. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you.
And I would like to thank Daryl for wearing a light colored shirt.
See, let's see. You know why? That's something to think about.
What's
For
that
anyone who
about?
wonders what that has to do with anything, we have a choir here. Daryl is the director, and Vicky is vision impaired. She can see some, but it helps her if Daryl wears a light shirt so she can see his hands and so forth as he's directing. Just putting your business out in the street there.
That's
So
right. That's right.
yes, okay.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm sure there's something else we haven't covered. I don't know what it is, but I don't.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
it just means that we get to share a little bit more before we end our morning here.
Hmm.
Um, I just like to say that we live in a society of labels, and I've said this before. And a lot of those labels that get applied to us don't really pertain to us. And a lot of the labels that we apply to ourselves, I think we have to be really careful about what we take on. Because if someone wants to define our character or define a certain attribute, they might say, well, Daryl is one of those, and he's not the best person in the world. So when we start to take on labels, we have to think about the labels that we do take on. And I have to say, the only label that I really want applied to me, is the fact that I'm a human. And because I'm a human, it means that I'm capable of some incredible things. But the most incredible thing that I am capable of is sharing love. And as a human and sharing love, I know that if I do that, that I can improve the world around me. And if I pass that along to all of you, and you pass it along to all of your friends and family and anyone that you come in contact with, that I guarantee you that this world will definitely be a better place. It's not going to cost you anything. And who doesn't want a better world, right? So I only have one request of all of you and all of the people that you know and love. Share that love, please. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us. Have a great week.
That's a little loud. people of justice. Be as brilliant as the light, and as splendid as the fire that blazed in the burning bush. The brightness of the fire of your love will no doubt fuse and unify the contending peoples and kindreds of the earth, whilst the fierceness of the flame of enmity and hatred cannot but result in strife and ruin. We beseech God that he may shield his creatures from the evil designs of his enemies. He verily hath power over all things. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let it be world embracing. Be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let it be world embracing. Watch over yourselves, for the evil one is lying in wait, ready to entrap you. Gird yourselves against his wicked devices, and led by the light of the name of the all-seeing God, make your escape from the darkness that surrounded you. Let your vision be world embracing, rather than confined to your own self. These are the words of Baha'u'llah. Be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Oh, let it be. Let it be. Let it be world embracing. Let it be world embracing. World embracing. Have a good week, folks. Alawapa.
Lawapa.
Share some love. Hopefully, we'll see you here 2 weeks from now. I was going to say next week, but that's right. 2 weeks from now, we will continue our study of some answered questions.